Why do the good men always lose before the fight even begins? Not the loud ones, not the cruel ones, the polite ones. The ones who don't want trouble, who say, "I just want peace." Why do they get sidelined at work, overlooked in relationships, and outmaneuvered in life by people who seem less moral, less kind, sometimes even less intelligent? Here rests the uncomfortable truth. Most men lose because they are weak in strength. They lose because they are weak in strategy, and they don't even realize it. There's a quiet idea buried inside The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's not a flashy quote. It's not the popular "know your enemy." It's the darker one, the one about advantage. He teaches that war is won before the battle begins. The side that controls positioning, timing, and perception doesn't need to fight hard. The outcome is already decided. Weak men ignore this. They think goodness alone will protect them. They think being harmless is the same as being safe. It isn't. If you're interested in understanding these hidden psychological patterns, how power, perception, and self-sabotage really work, stick around. Because once you see this clearly, you can't unsee it. And it changes how you move through the world. Here at Sun Tzu's dark secret, weakness isn't about being physically small or emotionally sensitive. It's about broadcasting that you won't defend your boundaries. Emotional, professional predators are extremely good at detecting that signal. Think about the nice guy at work. He volunteers for extra tasks. He avoids conflict at all costs. He says yes when he means no. He assumes that if he just works hard and keeps his head down, recognition will eventually come. But what happens? A more assertive colleague positions himself strategically. He speaks confidently in meetings, takes credit for shared work, and builds alliances. When promotion time comes, the outcome was decided months earlier. The nice guy feels betrayed, but I was loyal, he thinks. He doesn't realize he was loyal without leverage. Sun Tzu would call that losing before the war even starts. Psychologically, this happens because many men confuse morality with strategy. They believe that being kind means never being calculating. They believe that setting boundaries is aggression. They believe that if they show any strength, they'll become the bad guy, so they choose to be harmless instead of formidable. But there's a world of difference between cruelty and controlled power. When you suppress your ability to be dangerous, people don't see virtue. They see opportunity. There's a subtle pattern here. Weak men seek approval more than they seek outcomes. They want to be liked more than they want to be respected. Respect requires the possibility of consequence. If there's no cost to crossing you becomes convenient. Sun Tzu warned leaders not to let emotion cloud their strategy. Misplaced mercy, he suggested, can destroy an entire army. If you spare an enemy without securing their loyalty, you aren't being compassionate. You're creating a future threat. Now let's translate that into modern life. You keep forgiving the friend who disrespects you. You keep helping the colleague who undercuts you. You keep staying in the relationship where your boundaries are constantly ignored. You tell yourself you're being mature, but are you being mature or are you just afraid to enforce consequences? Weakness often hides behind moral language. Don't want drama. I'm just being understanding. I don't like confrontation. But underneath that is a deeper fear. What if I lose them? What if they get angry? What if I'm rejected? So instead of positioning yourself strategically, you negotiate with people who are already positioning themselves against you. Sun Tzu understood something timeless about human psychology. People respond to strength more than they respond to intention. They test limits. They observe reactions. They adjust accordingly. If someone insults you lightly and you just laugh it off to keep the peace, they escalate. If someone takes advantage of your time and you allow it, they expand their reach. Not because they are inherently evil, but because humans instinctively explore the boundaries of their environment. And you are part of their environment. Here's the part no one says out loud. When you consistently avoid conflict, you teach others exactly how to treat you. A weak man enters every interaction hoping the other person will be fair. A strategic man enters every interaction aware that fairness is negotiated, not assumed. Consider a simple scenario. Two men start new jobs. One quietly does his tasks, hoping his hard work will speak for itself. The other, without being arrogant, makes sure his contributions are visible. He speaks up in meetings, he forms alliances, clarifies expectations with his boss. Months later, the second man is trusted with bigger responsibilities and more complex projects. The first man feels invisible, frustrated, and passed over. Was the second man less kind? Not necessarily, just understood positioning. Sun Tzu said that the skilled warrior first ensures his own invincibility, then waits for the enemy's vulnerability. Weak men reverse this. They make themselves vulnerable first, hoping the world will be gentle. It rarely is. And this doesn't mean becoming ruthless or cruel. It means becoming disciplined in your empathy. It means understanding that your heart is a powerful asset, but only when it's guided by strategy. Kindness without boundaries is not a virtue. It is exposure. You can be generous and still be unshakable. You can be calm and still be dangerous. The goal isn't to dominate everyone. The goal is to remove the incentive for others to dominate you. There's a psychological shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I be liked? You start asking, how am I positioning myself? Instead of assuming good intentions will protect you, you assume outcomes are shaped by structure. Are your boundaries clear? Are the consequences for crossing them consistent? Are your contributions visible? Are you negotiating from need or from choice? Weak men negotiate from need. They need validation. They need approval. They need the relationship to survive at any cost. And when people sense that need, the power dynamic tilts instantly against them. Sun Tzu's darker lesson is this: true power is not loud. It is controlled. It is calculated. It is aware. The great irony is that the men who fear becoming bad often end up resentful, bitter, and passive-aggressive. Because suppressed strength doesn't just disappear, it rots internally and turns into silent, corrosive anger. True strength is cleaner than that. It's the ability to say, I wish you well, but this is my boundary. It's the quiet confidence that says, I can walk away. It's the calm energy that declares, I will not harm you, but I am not available for harm. That energy changes rooms, it changes relationships, it changes your life. So here's the final loop. Why do weak men lose before they even start? Because they step onto the battlefield pretending it isn't one. Life is not a constant war, but it is a constant negotiation of status, respect, attention, resources, and love. If you refuse to acknowledge that reality, others will simply negotiate on your behalf. You don't need to become ruthless. You need to become strategically kind. There's a huge difference. One is emotional reactivity. The other is disciplined awareness. So I want you to ask yourself quietly, where in my life am I being nice instead of strategic? Where am I avoiding unnecessary conflict? Where have I mistaken my harmlessness for virtue? Sun Tzu understood that the greatest victories are invisible. The opponent never even realizes they were outmaneuvered. The weak man, however, often never realizes he's surrendered until it's too late. If this resonates with you, look at your patterns not with shame, but with clarity. Strength is not something you're born with. It's a skill, something you choose to cultivate every day. The very first step is admitting that mercy without structure can become self-betrayal. So tell me in the comments, where have you seen this dynamic play out in your own life? And what would change if you stopped trying to be harmless, started trying to be strategically unshakable? I read every comment, so let's discuss. Thanks for watching, and if you got value from this, subscribe for more.